Hi, I'm Cinnamon, and I'm a professional in my early 20s, and I enjoy all things finance, especially personal finance. As my financial situation, is getting a little bit more complicated, I thought it'd be a good time for me to use ynab to keep track of things. It's a software I've been seeing a lot of people use on YouTube, and so now I'm starting with it myself. So, since my last video where I basically did a budget breakdown, there have been a few changes, and I'll walk you through those changes as I begin to assign my money. So, the first change has been that I actually miscalculated what I would be earning in the year because I forgot to include my relocation bonus, and I also forgot to account for the fact that one of my paychecks is only a half paycheck, getting paid for 1 week of work as opposed to two. And with that, my taxes decreased in one direction but increased in another direction. So I had to also recalculate with the same application, Smart Asset, my predicted taxes for the year. My taxes for the year are actually probably going to be lower than this number as well because Smart Asset is using 2021 numbers. And when I went to the IRS site to cross check what was happening on Smart Asset, it was actually lower than what Smart Asset was saying I would pay on the IRS site, which is using more updated numbers for 2022. So I put in my paycheck and then I would take off what I would be paying in taxes. So that is why all of these categories are overspent. And I am going to assign their values now because they've actually already been paid out. So that's why this number is high. It includes my bonus, my relocation bonus, my first paycheck, and it doesn't exclude any of the taxes. It also includes my current emergency fund, which I will be assigning through ynab as well. So this number will hopefully get to zero soon. My Hsa contribution is from my employer, and I haven't contributed to that yet. FICA, that's already been taken out. Is this. And let's see if there's an easier way if I click all of these. I'm a little worried using the numbers. Okay, so those are all my taxes paid off, and these are updated numbers. One thing that's a little concerning to me is that I'm pretty close to what I would be spending in taxes for the whole year in state income tax. So I have to definitely do something to change my withholdings to make sure I don't end up overpaying state income tax. And because I moved between states, one of my paychecks actually took out tax from my former state. And so this I will be getting fully reimbursed once I do that. And that's actually kind of annoying to have to like wait to have this out and not be able to make any interest on it, but hopefully my new paychecks will have that correction. So the next thing I changed was my core savings. So because I had changed the income I would be earning in the year, I also had to change my savings goals. And I found it a little bit confusing to count my Hsa contribution as part of my savings goal. I actually redid my tax calculations considering the fact that the Hsa contribution would result in a tax deduction, and then went from there. I also decided to give myself more leeway. I was trying to go for 45%, but after doing these numbers, this seemed like more of a stretch goal. And then I was like, is 40% a little too low? So I gave myself multiple options for how I could do this. And similarly with my savings and investment goal, which would be monthly goal, I also have a goal for just holding on to a portion of my bonus for savings and investments. And I decided to make that its own category because it wouldn't be happening monthly. It would just be something that would be this big one shot kind of goal I would have that I would figure out now. So after I do all of this, I'll see if I can make it to keeping these bonus savings stretch goals or if I do need to tap into these to cover some of my spending. Before I do that, I mentioned my current emergency fund is actually part of this value. I thought it would just be easier to have everything shown on ynab so far. I put $1 in my emergency fund already, and then I put it for the next few months because it only lets you see the next month if you have something assigned in that month. So this was just to help me get to see the next few months a little bit easier. Right now, my goal with my emergency fund is this 10,800, but for the purposes of the accounting I'm doing right now, I want my emergency fund to basically have all of the money I had before July that has nothing to do with anything I've earned from work. And that's because I want to make sure when I'm reaching my savings and spending goals that I'm not actually inadvertently tapping into income I had prior. So I just want to hold this in this category to make sure I'm not tapping into what I had prior. And I had to do a lot of accounting to actually figure out this number because some of my July work income was actually paid earlier, specifically my relocation bonus. So I had to like redo the math and make sure that a credit card payment that I had made in July but was covering expenses in June wouldn't affect what I would be considering like my June spendings or my July spending. So it took some work to get at this number, but I believe it is correct. And now I can go forward. So I'm going to start by funding all of these. That looks good. And then I want to go and can I fully fund these in one shot? I don't believe I can. Okay. So I'm just going to fund these goals. So my work has it so that my bonus is paid all up front, but then if I leave the company early before a certain time period, I do have to repay that amount. And so to make sure that under that kind of unlikely case, it's not something I see myself doing, but there is maybe some job instability around this time. So to make sure that I'm prepared for that unlikely scenario, I'm going to hold this in bonus holdings and then pay out of it like over the time period and only start investing. And this will also allow me to dollar cost average the way I have. Only start investing once I've actually accumulated it on a prorated basis. So that's just what I feel the most comfortable doing, and it would allow me to dollar cost average. So this is covered now. This feels really good because I kind of felt like I had these insane goals of savings and I wouldn't be able to do everything else I need to do. But I think I will be. Okay. So now this is my core spending. This has actually been all of my spending for the month of July. Not just from when I started my ynab. I started my ynab mid-July and I didn't like the setup system because it would try to like kind of start your balance from the day you actually like first link your account, but I wanted to account for the whole month and really just start fresh on this whole month, even though I hadn't linked my account from the beginning. So right now I'm doing everything wrong because I'm covering overspending, but hopefully I can at the end of this video get a month ahead. So on overspent categories, I've tested this out a bit and I just actually want to do this a little differently. I want to just put in my goal numbers and then use what was the goal for this? 180. My utility bill hasn't come yet, so I don't actually have that. But I decided to go ahead and film this video anyway. I'm just gonna put in the goal number and then move things around later to cover overspending as if I had done this at the beginning of time. So one thing I actually did was I had to go back to June to start the diet target goal because there are 5 Saturdays in July and it was only showing me 4 because of when I had created my account or created the category. So I had to go back and do that. So that might be a tip if people are just getting started. So yeah, I spent a lot in some categories, but then spent little in other ones, and I kind of want to use those other ones to cover overspending instead of doing it from my ready to assigned, as that will be my future. Should I cover overspending now or wait? I believe I could probably cover this overspending with. So the reason why my rent was really high this month is because I did stay at a hotel while I was waiting to move in to my place. So I'll cover this with discretionary. This feels like the kind of holding me over while things are difficult. And then I have some overspending in personal utilities as well. I'll cover that with discretionary. And then I'll have overspending with diet as well. I'll cover that with discretionary. So yeah, that was really just, this category is really just to help me cover overspending and maybe do something fun once I get more disciplined in keeping to my category. So that actually worked out really well. And I have some left over to roll into different categories. Yeah, I'm really surprised by how this is all going so far. Okay, so this is good for now. I'll come back to that later to do some rolling over. Now that that's all covered, I now can consider everything I have now what I've retained from my bonus. And this is a weird way to do it, but I want to put everything in here now again because, like I said, I want to actually distribute this gradually over time as I accrue it on the prorated basis, even though it was given to me in the lump sum. So I want to remember this number so I can make sure I'm actually distributing things well over time. So now everything's gone from ready to assign. And this is actually another part of the last video that I hadn't figured out yet that I've just now set up, which is my general singing funds. I decided to name them after things that I want to be. So I want to be happy and have a lot of hobbies, get into cooking, but this will be just an overall wellness singing fund and has right now the goal is to have the amount that would cover all my deductibles. Girl Next Door is like kind of the aesthetic I like, so it's going to be my home stuff, my beauty stuff, my clothes, financial planner. Oh, this is a very important category to cover. So this will be covering like different fees I accrue because I feel like fees are kind of a hard thing to keep up with. So as I get better at financially planning and those kinds of fees, um, that's what this category cover is actually really high right now because included in it is my rent for the place where I lived prior. So I didn't go through the process of getting someone to sublease. That would have been really smart, but I was like really shy about asking, which wasn't smart. So now I am stuck with that bill, but this is the last time I have to pay it, and with better financial planning, should be all good. Um, Lifelong learner, this is going to cover some educational classes I want to take in September, but as I want to take more classes, I can build this up. This will cover my career stuff. I do computer science in a corporate environment, so this will kind of be the social life I want. I kind of like kind of social life. I don't know. This is a fun name for me. And this will be the fund that I will use to help my family out with different expenses. So right now is where a lot more thinking comes in. I have to think about where I want to move this. I know I definitely want to cover this overspending. Oh, let me undo this because that's not how you do it. Okay, so bonus retainer. There we go. Then I will cover this overspending with bonus retainer as well. I think this is all I can really do right now. I might stop here with the general singing funds and then go just to some specific ones. So I will get these reimbursed actually, but I'm going to cover it with my bonus retainer for now. So these are some relocation expenses that I paid for, but my company will reimburse. And the security deposit, I will cover that with bonus retainer for now as well. Because again, this is essentially also going to be reimbursed to me at some point, and I'm also going to get my security deposit from my old place back, which would maybe I can add that back to bonus retainer. So when these two things get paid back to me, I can add it back to bonus retainer. I have some subscriptions that I want to fully fund. So I am going to get my groceries delivered, and I just actually signed up for this today to get my groceries delivered, but they give you a 1 month free trial. So I actually saw that option, so I'm going to do the 1 month free trial and then pay for it later. So I need to stop doing that. I'll pay for it with, I don't know how I can move. Let's see. To get used to this. So I am spending a lot more for bonus retainer because I do have my emergency fund. But yes, I'm more focused on, I decided if I do get in a situation where I do need to repay my bonus, I'd rather just repay it off from the savings portion and just like end up saving less in the year than kind of control my spending because I want to buy all the things that I want to buy. And I'm actually fine saving a little bit less if something bad does happen, given that I already have a pretty good emergency fund. So I also am going to pay for the ynab subscription. I forgot what I said that would be with tax that I want to set aside, also 115. I don't know when I want to get Amazon Prime. I was gonna fund home maintenance and bike maintenance this month, but I might change my goal dates for that. Well, bike maintenance I wasn't gonna fund this month, I guess. Yeah, maybe I will do that in August as well. I'll hold out for those two goals later. I did want to get Prime funded, so I could just have it and then be ready to buy it. I think I'll probably start using Prime in August. I'm not sure though. Yeah, I'll decide if I want to use it in August, but I will just pay for it now then. What was the amount? I think I put 160 for Prime. That should be it. Okay. So I have moved a lot from bonus retainer. I thought it would show me this activity that I had moved from it, but I guess I can rewind the video and just see what it initially started at. I have my emergency fund, which is like overfunded right now. I wonder how I'm going to address that in the future. Right now, I'm pretty good with where things are. I don't feel a need to do much else right now. I am thinking because, oh, I think I was gonna actually pay for things a month ahead. Yes, that is correct. So now I am in August and have to pay for some things. So my rent payment coming up. One thing that is pretty confusing to me so far is when I'm actually going to get charged for my renter's insurance. If it's going to be the first, And if it is the first, does it cover the current month or does it cover the next month? So that's something I recently sent out a message about, but I haven't heard anything about. So I know these cover like the next month. I think for now this is fine because I won't be doing any charges here for at least August. I already fully funded that. Here, and here. So I think this is actually good for now, just the rent and the renter's insurance to make sure those can get paid for immediately since they'll be happening immediately. So let me go back to general bonus retainer. I will put this back in there. And I can actually repad it with some of the underspending I've done. So I can move this to bonus retainer. I'm also going to move this to bonus retainer. So hygiene expenses, I'm going to move this to girl next door since I can maybe use that to buy nicer things for the house. Skill development, I will move to lifelong learner so I can invest in my classes. Aesthetic expenses, I did not buy clothes and all that. The home stuff I already put directly in girl next door actually because it was like core home stuff, so this is fair making that go. And this can go to modern debutante. Okay, so this is actually what I'm happy with. And whenever I get the information about this, I can update it and move it to bonus retainer. So this looks good now. And now, thought bonus retainer would have more in it. Okay, so I can see girl next door has some padding. Financial planners paid off. Lifelong loan and modern. So these have some more padding to it. Guess I didn't move that much to bonus retainer. Maybe just a few. Tens of dollars. Okay. Wow, this is a really good feeling. I feel like I have a lot of stuff figured out. The next thing is just really figuring out how I'm going to redistribute this in a way where I don't feel like I relied on it to live a certain lifestyle. Okay, I actually have an idea about this so I can do it now. So I put this in my emergency fund and I remember what I was going to do with it. I was going to use it to fund said emergencies. Specifically, this one, I was going to take from my emergency fund, kind of move it to like more individual emergency funds where it is going to healthy. So now for my general emergency fund, I have one specifically for medical stuff. The next thing I need to do is, I think I want to move it to these two categories, home maintenance and bike maintenance. So 500. So home maintenance is actually more of an emergency fund, even though it's called maintenance. I set it to 500 because that is the deductible on my renter's insurance. So I wouldn't really be paying for home maintenance as a renter, but just in case something happens, it might come from here or it might come from my security deposit. So I'd get back less of a refund in the security deposit. I wonder, bike maintenance is going to also be given something from here as the emergency fund is going to get bike maintenance because I do have the way I'm getting my bike, the lease that I'm using actually bakes a year of bike maintenance, like once a year bike maintenance into the lease. So I don't actually have to worry about bike maintenance unless something goes like really, really wrong. So, and if you're wondering why I'm leasing a bike, it is because my company will pay for the bike lease, but it won't pay for me to buy a bike. So that is how I came to that decision. This is good because now these funds are like specifically emergency kind funds. And from here, I might invest more, or I might just, yeah, maybe I would take some out to invest more. So I'll create a new category called emergency investments. Not a great name. I'll work on that. And from there, I will move minus what I originally wanted in my emergency fund to emergency investments. So if I decide I want to invest a little, how did I do this? Let me undo what I just did. I don't know what I just did. 1080. Can you not do math here? Oh. Okay, let me just. Oh, well, that's actually really simple math too that I was trying to do. So that would be. Okay. That looks really, really good. I'm actually very satisfied with the way this came out. And as things pop up, I should be getting my next paycheck by Friday. So I will definitely be able to handle what's happening in core spending. And if, crazy things pop up, I will take from these bonus stretch goals. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video, hopefully. Bye.